Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Superhero Homies podcast. My name is Quentin, and as always, I'm here with the homie Kevin.
How are we all doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, it's one of our. This is a couple things here. First of all, this is the first podcast that we've done on a weeknight that hasn't had anything to do with like a movie review that's coming out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's a Wednesday for us guys.
Yeah. Even though ironically enough, this isn't really a movie review.
But we are talking about
a movie. But the other notable thing about tonight is that it is actually our 10th podcast. So,
Ayo, hitting them double digits. What? Give us some love.
They said we wouldn't make it.
They wouldn't make it to 10?
We're proving them wrong right now.
All of them.
Making it to number 10, proving all the haters wrong.
Who are them? Who are the haters?
Like it's like Drake said, he made it a cliche, started from the bottom, now we're here, we're still right here at the bottom, but it's we're at a different part of the bottom now.
We're at a different part of the bottom. We're like kind of on our feet.
But before we're just flat on our backs.
Exactly.
Now we're getting up from like a hand and a knee.
That's true. We look like we just did the superhero landing, but we're actually crawling up.
Right, yeah. Oh man! Yep. But tonight we're actually doing just a little review on Iron Man 1.
Heck yeah! Everyone remembers that movie.
Oh yeah, that's the movie that kicked off the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It all started here.
Mm-hmm. Released in 2008, began production frickin' 1990 actually is what I found.
Yeah, the movie. Yeah, the idea for it's been around for that long, and I mean it's bounced around from studio to studios because back then there was no Marvel Studios,
right?
But went from like Universal. I think that even Legendary was connected to it at one point.
Yeah,
it bounced all the way around, and
it finally landed a good old Paramount.
Yeah. Well, technically, yeah, but Marvel Studios.
Yeah, Marvel Studios still totally did it.
In
fact, I mean. Now it's all Marvel Studios up and down the court, and freaking Disney backing them up too. Yep.
Unless we're talking about the X-Men or Fantastic Four,
right? Or obviously the Hulk as well.
Yeah, Hulk is another funny one.
Damn it! Okay, we're not. This was not the subject. Oh, but real quick before we press the gas pedal any harder, any recent comic news, my good man?
Actually, there is some comic news. I didn't know if we wanted to do it twice a week or just on the Sunday cast.
Okay, I mean, don't matter to me, bro.
Yeah, and, I mean, I figure we keep this in a little bit lighter, but there is some comic news. So I'll tell you guys here's what I do. I'll go ahead and I'll give you guys some comic news tonight, and give you guys a little bit more. Next time we see y'all, which should be Sunday night.
Heck yeah!
Yeah, so I guess you can say I'm going to give you the tip tonight.
Okay? Yeah, getting them secrets with his connections, his unrevealable sources.
Because that's totally the tip I was talking about.
I was trying to avoid the innuendo. Okay, damn it.
Okay. So yeah, there's a little bit of comic news. One thing that is really notable is they have confirmed that Greg Pak, the comic book writer, he is actually doing a World War Hulk 2. And so yeah, that's going to be, And it's one of those things where like I had mixed emotions about it, because for anyone who's read World War Hulk, the original, knows that like the meaning behind it and everything that it represents, and like everything that it goes through to get to that epic storyline. And, I think about part 2 or World War Hulk 2. My first thought was, I'm glad that Greg Pak is back. I did not mean for that to rhyme.
I was about to say, did you do that on purpose? You did it on purpose.
I'm glad that he's continuing to write for Hulk, specifically, Bruce Banner Hulk. I'm glad that Banner's back. And, but I'm really curious to see, like, how you're going to make this something that's going to be, like, because to make a part 2 of such an epic storyline, like, you really have to work hard to sell the readers on that. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, the first one really was a classic. I mean, like an instant classic. because it's like a direct spinoff of Planet Hulk. Like, well, not really a spinoff, but a continuation. And so, like, how do you just come out the gate with a World War Hulk 2? I'm not really sure. But this wouldn't be the first time that Marvel or DC has done something like this. I mean, we can look at Civil War. Like, the original Civil War comic arc was really fun read, really in depth, and really rewarding. Just because it was something that they really had never quite explored before, and they did it, and it actually worked out really well for the most part. The Civil War, I think it's probably my top 10 favorite.
Cool.
As far as like the overall comic arc goes, but like for Civil War 2. It wasn't that it was bad, but it just did. It felt like they were just trying to recapture that magic from the first one, and
it just didn't have the same caliber.
Yeah, it's hard to do that, And
so here's a question for you, man. What do you think is inspiring our boy Greg to Greg, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. What do you think is inspiring him? Do you think it's any kind of spite or because of love for the recent highlight of that?
I think the number one thing that's inspiring him is Marvel telling him, "Hey, we want a World War Hulk 2."
Well, of course. I mean, chain of command. The boss man says, "Do this."
Yeah.
Then everyone under him jumps.
Yeah. Same thing even with the Secret War. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Marvel's been on a kick these past few years of just kind of trying to get these comic sequels out there in hopes to grasp, I guess. Readers who adore the classics. I don't know, but like I said, I really hope that World War Hulk 2 delivers and can be hopefully as good as the original. You haven't read the original yet, have you?
Not yet, no.
Yeah, it's quite good, really really good. Let's see here. Something else on here that I'll go ahead and also mention tonight is, and this was quite the read, and it really made my day. So there has been a study now, and psychologists say that dressing up as Batman can increase your productivity.
No, damn it!
Yes.
No, what?
And I was like I needed another reason to dress up as Batman.
Oh my
yes. But yeah, so I mean, let's ignore the fact that this article was written, and that the study was done on like 5-year-olds, but that's completely irrelevant. Okay, but the fact remains is that when these little innocent children were given a boring task to do, it's just normal little Jimmy or John or whoever, that they would lose focus or that they get bored with it or that they just wouldn't complete it. But when these children would dress up as Batman, they got shit done. You know why? Because that's what Batman does. And that's really
Who funded this? It's like
if I had money, I would further this research myself.
Okay, so here's old comic news, but I'm sure it's news a lot of our listeners have never heard of here. I'm going to share this with you because it makes me wonder now. Maybe this should be the podcast for the night, damn it. Who funds random studies? By superhero homies. So years ago, I remember reading this, actually. It wasn't that long ago. In fact, it might have only been last year. I don't know. Someone verify this for me if you know what I'm talking about. But someone did a study in which they proved that Spider-Man would have to have webbed toes and like an extra toe or some other extra bullcrap to really do what he does. It is impossible to be Spider-Man clinging on the walls and stuff with just the average size of a hand.
Really?
Yeah, they did an actual study. And it's even with the spider abilities and like the sticky hands and like what...
are they taking into effect like his enhanced strength?
Yeah, no, they did. They did a whole full-blown study. I was that curious, and I was like, well, what the hell is this? Why is this popping up in my news? I clicked on it, and yeah, they did a full-blown study. Even with enhanced strength, the human body was not built to do that. So trying to do that is fighting the natural like mechanics of our organisms, our bodies. And it's like, well, this is fascinating, but who spent money on this?
Yeah. And you know what? I'm certainly not a scientist, but just for argument's sake, I would argue that.
Damn it, no.
Well, because he's not human anymore. He's now, well, DC would consider him a metahuman. The Marvel Universe would consider him humanoid, but humanoid's not human.
But it wasn't a question of powers or not. It was just a question of physique.
Yeah, like human physiology.
His build, right. He would need like an extra finger out on that bad boy to really be able to hold up his entire body. Yeah. And it had nothing to do with his strength. You could be damn strong, but holding yourself on the freaking wall or walking up a... Yeah, no, that was part of the study too. Literally walking up a wall or running up a wall like he does, even with like your strength. Because, my guys, Q is a built dude. He's strong, okay? Even with like a great amount of strength and power behind your arms and your legs and everything, running up the wall with a human physique, even with Spider-Man's bullshit going on, is just not possible. And that's what they proved in some scientific study. And it's like, well, that's depressing, but I'm super curious. Who paid for this? And that's my ultimate question.
You know, it's interesting because Spider-Man 2099, he actually has different wall crawling capabilities. He has like talons that, like little talons that he has, I believe, that he uses to crawl.
Something like that would have to be necessary. Like, you get like, you know, an actual arachnid going on, you know, like Spider-Man's other fancy suit, which is kind of related to our topic, you know, the one he scored from Iron Man. But
actually, just to continue my original.
Oh yeah, please do. Yeah.
So like I said earlier, there was a test done, and says here new research finds that kids aged 6 to 4 perform better during boring tasks when dressed as Batman. And like ultimately they said that it is a fact, like when kids are dressed up as Batman they do better, but they were trying to get to the source of why. And I was like, well, no, there's no real question as to why. I can tell you why. It's because they're dressed as Batman. They have a duty. Like, you put on that cape and cowl, no matter what your age is, you know that you're responsible. You gotta get it done.
Your parents were hypothetically killed in this case. Now, good job.
But you know,
Case closed.
I think maybe it kind of gives them like a sense of I don't want to say justice, but it gives them like a cool sense of like urgency or responsibility.
Oh, Batman would do this. I have to do it.
Yeah,
and that makes good sense. Like I can easily envision that, you know.
Yeah.
But it still makes me laugh and shake my head, especially that we just brought that up. You know, I'm gonna have to buy you a Batman costume now. Every time you go into work, I'm gonna demand you wear it. Like I'm gonna call you up every day. You wearing that costume I got you, buddy? I'm getting so much done, Kevin.
The problem is that I would take it completely the wrong direction, and I would leave work and be like Augusta needs me, and go out and fight crime and get shot, and you know.
And it's like, well, yeah, that blows, buddy. Does that mean I need to go get a Superman costume so I can be like more of a Boy Scout or something? I don't know.
I don't know, because then I have to kick your ass. Yeah. I would beat you up with like a bag of colored green rocks.
You dick. You did what? You just go spray paint some rocks? That would be a dick move. Maybe I should choose someone else to dress up as. I would just be Wolverine. Screw it.
Oh man.
Anywho.
Okay, and let's see here. What's one other one that I want to use? I'll do one more tonight, and then we'll move on to the podcast here.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see here. Okay. I'll go ahead and do this one for tonight as well. And I kind of touched on this one Sunday. It's been brought up again just within the past day and today. The Disney Fox buyout. So not only has this picked up steam again in the past couple of weeks, but now, like recently, I would even say within the past 24 hours, there's been even more news and updates on it. So so now this like the rumors are really running rapid that like it's basically a go, and that Marvel is doing all they can to keep it on the wraps.
Well, obviously not a good enough job. I mean, you just read it.
But it's a rumor, though. That's the thing. It's not anything confirmed. And I think that this would be a really amazing thing. It'd be a really amazing moment because I think that the timing would be perfect. I mean, think about it. Like after you defeat Thanos, and after you wrap up Avengers 3 and 4, like. I mean, sure, there's still some things that they can do with the characters that they own and with the properties that they own as far as the movies go. But there's some things, man, that they just really have to, they really be limited. Because, like, everything since Avengers 1 has been leading up to these next two Avengers movies, Avengers 3 and 4.
Yeah.
But now, like, if this buyout does happen, and if it is indeed a thing, then that means that they get the rights to so many other characters now. To, of course, like we already mentioned, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and Deadpool, and Cable. And, I mean, honestly, I think that it'd be a really amazing thing. I think that Kevin Feige, of course, like one of the head honchos over there at Marvel Studios, he already has his plate full, but now he'll definitely have a lot to deal with. But also, it does make sense that they would really want this buyout, that they go through with it, because apparently Disney is coming out with their own little streaming app. I don't know if they're doing it for Marvel as well, but if that's the case, then they give them more content to produce. So yeah, hopefully this deal goes through, and because like don't get me wrong, like. I would have a real love-hate relationship with the Fox Studios movies. Some of them I truly enjoy, and some of them I kind of detest.
We enjoyed less.
Yeah, it's like I really enjoyed X1 and 2, and unlike most people, I actually enjoyed X1 more than X2. X2, they really hit the gas pedal on Wolverine. I'm like, all right, guys, there's other mutants here.
I know, right? Yeah.
And X1, I feel like really hit the meaning of X-Men more. Because really it encapsulated humanity's hate for mutants, Magneto's desire to get rid of humanity, and Professor X's desire to grow together with humans and mutant kind, while X2 is really focused on Stryker being a military man versus a religious zealot like he was in the comics. But anyways,
yeah. Well,
but yeah, this whole Fox buyout could produce some great things overall. Though
that's true. Yeah.
I mean, we like we said briefly on Sunday. Hopefully, there's gonna be a good Doctor Doom.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Cross your fingers, say some prayers.
Right.
Good vibes, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Now, I see you have that list there. Now, I've been holding off on using that list until...
Oh, no, we don't got to talk about it. That was just for me to look at so I can, envision something myself. I won't even,
Yeah, so we have a secret list.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
But you saw that before?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
And I figured we'll probably mention that one of our last podcasts of the year, so we're wrapping it up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Anywho, so
but,
shall we...
that's... and I guess just to close out the whole Marvel Fox buyout news, they said that that there's a high likelihood that it will be confirmed next week. So, we'll see.
Ooh,
yeah.
Tune in. I've not been able to drop that for a long time. Yeah, I've never dropped that in these episodes. All right. So, Iron Man 1, the movie that really kicked off the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Indeed.
So actually, I rewatched the movie last night, and I took a couple notes on it, and it was a really, really fun experience watching this movie again for a couple of reasons. Of course, one, like when you watch it under the eye of like a reviewer, then you pick up on things that maybe you otherwise wouldn't pick up on, or you remember things that you may have forgotten. Because honestly, I haven't watched this since probably 2013. It's like I rewatched Iron Man 1 and 2 before I went to see Iron Man 3. But I think that's probably the last time I watched Iron Man 1, other than last night. But
okay,
yeah, and one of the first things that I had written in my notes, I'm gonna have a look at it, was Robert Downey Jr. is already killing it. And the very first scene we see, they're riding in the Humvee in Afghanistan, and is Tony Stark, and he's in this Humvee with 3 other soldiers, and just the banter that's happening is truly it's really funny.
You want to know the cool thing about that scene and every scene after it?
I know a lot of it was improv because the script wasn't completed.
Exactly.
Yep.
He actually told them, "Look, guys, I want you're all talented. You're hired on for a reason.
Yeah.
Do what you do best.
Yeah.
This is what I want. This is the direction."
Yeah. And that's super interesting, considering the fact that the dialogue was not complete because they were actually still trying to finish the story. And so it's amazing that it turned out as well as it did, because it really easily could have turned into like another Hancock.
Right.
Yeah, because Hancock was all over the place with the writing in it. They were editing Hancock as the movie was filming. But yeah, so that's
poor Will Smith.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was like one of the very first things I had written in here, because the opening scene, and then they're playing Back in Black by AC/DC. And I think it was a very fitting way to kind of bring in the movie and to kind of give viewers a taste of, the kind of vibe and the kind of character that we're going to be dealing with a lot here. Yeah.
Also, it's a little symbolic, I mean, obviously, Iron Man was the movie that kicked down the door that said, "Hey, guys, new term to learn, MCU. Get ready for it."
Right.
And Back in Black was kind of like saying, "Hey, so we got a taste of a few comic movies, but there's about to be a ton more. And we're all coming back now."
Most definitely.
Yeah. It was really good.
Yeah. So there's some major notes here, and then there's just some kind of more playful, really not important but noticeable to me notes that I have in here. And one of them is there's one scene in the Humvee, once again, like the first scene in the movie, where the soldiers finally start to warm up to Tony Stark, and he to them as well. And one of the soldiers leans over and he goes, "Can I take a picture with you, Mr. Stark?" And Tony goes, "Yeah, call me Tony." And then he goes, "Don't do the peace sign. I'm just kidding. Go ahead and do it." Just giving the guy a hard time. And then he goes, "All right, now I don't want to see this on MySpace." And I was like, whoa.
Dated.
Yeah. But I suppose this movie came out in 2008. Was I never had a MySpace. Was MySpace still a thing in 2008?
I never did MySpace either. I don't know.
Okay. Because apparently MySpace page is still up. MySpace is still a functioning thing.
Right. Well, dude, the guy who sold it.
Yeah.
Wow. He is comfy. He is sitting.
Oh, I bet he is. I would consider my life a huge success if I created that.
Whoa, never mind. That was a. Oh, never mind. Yeah, 2008 is actually when it did die, so it's appropriate. Yeah.
That is appropriate.
Yeah, it started in 2005 and died in 2008. Yep. So it was a very short lifespan.
Yeah.
It started long enough to inspire the guys who did Facebook.
Right.
Yeah. And that,
Zuckerberg
as we know,
and the gang. Yeah.
The sun doesn't set on the Facebook empire.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, anyways, and I'm just kind of rolling through this movie a little chronological. Please feel free to.
Oh no! Yeah. I'll throw my few cents up in there.
Yeah.
Dictate.
So of course, the next scene we get is when the Humvees are attacked by ballistics and heavy artillery and whatnot, and all the soldiers are quickly dispatched. Tony, he gets out of the RV and he takes cover behind a rock, and of course, a Stark Tech missile lands, is right next to him. It explodes, even though he has a vest on to protect him from fire. Or gunfire. The shrapnel, of course, still gets through and pierces his underneath his chest. And of course, I know the classic story how it gets really close to his heart. And then actually, and I actually forgot about how they actually did this sequence here, because I could have sworn that they went right into him, being in the cave and whatnot. But
no,
actually,
there was an interrogation.
Yeah. But actually, it wasn't actually so much interrogation.
It was a videoing. Give us money. Blah blah this.
Right.
Blah blah that. Or Tony Stark dies.
Yeah. And it was very brief, and we found out later in the movie that the subtitles for that were actually wrong because
Really?
yeah. Well, purposely for the movie's plot sake and all that.
Oh, right, okay.
But he actually, after that, he doesn't go. We don't go right into the cave with Tony. We actually do like a 36-hour flashback as to what he was doing then, and it's at this part.
The casino and the reward he didn't give a piss about, and the hot blonde woman.
Oh man, yeah, the reporter from Brown University. He said Berkeley, she said Brown. He said I don't care. But
well done, Robert.
Yeah, and so yeah, I thought that was also a really cool scene too. But what we get next, though, or actually before we move on, so like the guys that captured him in this movie, they refer to as the 10 Rings, and of course the Jon Favreau, the director, and the guy who played Happy Hogan, the bodyguard, he stated that that was actually to reference the Mandarin, of course, Mandarin and his 10 Rings of Power, because the 10 Rings, to my knowledge, is not actually an entity within the comic books. So they were actually really just made for the movie's sake, but it worked really well.
Yeah, it did.
And I don't want the last thing I want to do is have a pissing match about Iron Man 3 because I try to find the good.
Just
no, wait. I got this.
Okay.
I try to find the good in every single comic book movie that I watch, and I just remember, seeing all the little references to Mandarin that got me hyped for Mandarin, and now I'm still here waiting for Mandarin. But yeah, so that was a cool Easter egg having this terrorist group known as the 10 Rings in there.
Especially the one, he must have been like the actual ring finger, the guy that actually stood out and was the leading ring, I'll call him, Mr. I'm gonna put an RPG on my shoulder and shoot this in the cave I'm in. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why he wasn't in the cave making the equipment.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's a reason he had scars on his face.
Yeah. But yeah, so moving on, we get this neat little montage here, and I really like, especially as a comic reader, I always really enjoy this little montage scene that they had when they're presenting Tony with this award that Tony's not even there for, and this is not only good like in the sense of if this were really happening in real life, but it's also good in the sense of giving the viewers like a glimpse of Tony's life and what's happening with him. Because they give us this little montage about how Howard Stark built Stark Industries in whatever year and helped, fight the Nazis and World War II and, has, innovated so many technological advances and he and Obadiah Stane worked together. And then after Howard died, Obadiah took over until Tony Stark became of age. At 21 years old, Tony Stark took over the company, and he was even more brilliant than his father, and has advanced world technologies and military weaponry and blah blah blah. And so it was
the cool thing I liked about that is that it was a fun take to just watch on the big screen of a classic writing style. Very carefully did, and very few movies can pull it off well. Where you actually get a good, healthy dose of the background character. Right. The background of the character.
Yeah, there you go.
But, no, it was well pulled off. And freaking Jeff Bridges did great.
Jeff Bridges was phenomenal. I got more notes on him later because I'm actually going to
just
gush.
Get ready because I'm going to praise him all night long. Him and freaking Robert, dude.
But one thing that's also interesting though is just because I can't help it. Like when I watch a comic book movie, I automatically do like a side by side analysis of the events that's showing me here and the events that I've read about. And I think it is like it's interesting because this is, I still claim to be like one of the most comic book accurate movies of all time. Like I said it way back when, I'm saying it again now. I think still pretty much holds true. And the differences that are in the movie are I'd say justified for the most part.
Wait, Batman vs Superman wasn't?
No, I mean that movie had a lot of comic accurate shit in it, but
right.
Yeah,
I was cracking a joke.
Oh,
yeah,
no. But
maybe I should have made the joke. Oh wait, so the fight didn't stop because someone said Martha? There you go.
But anyway, so yeah, like I was saying, the thing about Obadiah Stane in the comics is that he was also a munitions dealer or weaponeer manufacturer, and in the comics he actually never really worked with Howard Stark. But as soon as Howard Stark died, he tried to take over the company, almost like a hostile takeover, and so that's kind of how he gets started in the comics. But I really did like the dynamic of having him already a part of Stark Industries.
Yeah.
And I really love it, man, because like unless you know about Ironmonger or Obadiah from the comics, then at this point in the movie, especially, you're not going to suspect him of being this bad guy.
No.
Because Jeff Bridges is so damn charming, even in this scene alone. But also in this scene, we don't only see Jeff Bridges for the first time. We also see Terrence Howard.
Yep.
For the first time as well.
We do. Mm-hmm. He does a great job.
He does. I really enjoyed Terrence Howard here. He really had like this cool charm about him that he brought to the movie.
He did the best friend to the flaky guy super well. You know, like he looked like he actually had to deal with old Tony for too long.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of those like one of those friendships where you like, you know, that you have this irresponsible friend, and like you guys have been friends so long that you're to the point now where like you're not trying to sugarcoat anything anymore.
Yep.
Oh man, but so yeah, of course Obadiah had to accept the award for Tony because Tony was downstairs playing the casino. But it is interesting to note, though, is that as Obadiah is trying to cover for Tony, he's saying, you know, the best thing about Tony is also the worst thing about Tony. He's always working. And then, of course, it pans over to Tony shooting craps.
Yep. Because that's work.
Oh, yeah. So the next part we get here is where you mentioned the attractive...
the reporter from Brown.
Yep.
Reporter from Brown. I don't recall her character's name or even the actress's name. I don't know.
Yep. I forget her character's name as well. I just know her as the bitchy journalist from Brown.
Give me a second. Who the crap was she? Was that her? Keep going. I'm gonna look it up. Yeah. I'm still.
But anyway, so she tries to. I think she tries to subpoena Tony. No, she doesn't try to subpoena him. I'm thinking of a different Iron Man movie. She tries to, of course, give Tony a hard time about like his quote unquote warmongering and the production of the weapons that he makes for the military and this and that. And Tony Stark, in typical fashion, he really does a good job of wooing her, so to speak. Like, even though this lady seems to have a disdain for Tony, like, Tony, like, cuts through all of that and kind of gets right to the point. And now, what's interesting, and I've pointed this out before, but never on the podcast, is that he charms this woman, and he must really charm her, because this award show takes place in Las Vegas, and Tony Stark lives in Malibu. And that is a 4-hour and 40-minute drive. I calculated that shit. And so the next morning, she wakes up in Tony's bed and in Malibu, and I'm like, God damn, like, I mean, because even if Tony didn't drive, because he got in the car, so I know he drove, but even if he flew, like that's still some commitment for a booty call on both parties' sake. But I digress. Tony, he mentions some interesting things also, though, as she's trying to get some information out of him. He says something along the lines of, my father always said, peace is having a bigger stick than the other guy. And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's a lot of people, in this world who feel that way. Like, we can't have peace unless we know that we're the biggest or the strongest,
right.
The
mightiest. That was a quote from Roosevelt, actually. That's where they derived that from. And to continue
no, Kevin, he derived it from Howard Stark, his dad.
No, damn it. The following quote that he used to support that statement was, I remember it, actually. It is something that kind of like made me think as a younger version of me in 2008. Oh, yeah. the best weapon is the one you never have to fire. And then Robert was like, or Tony was like, well, I disagree with that. I think the best weapon is the weapon you only have to fire once. And that's when he got the whole Jericho badass missile. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that was in the Jericho missile scene. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see, moving on here. So this actually is the first scene where we see Pepper Potts is when this bitchy journalist, she wakes up and she's still bitchy.
She wakes up, she finds Jarvis, she starts walking out, and then
well, she runs into Pepper Potts and she starts giving Pepper a hard time, about working for Tony Stark and things like that, and Pepper, she says something that I was kind of...
She said something witty. It was something like, my job's to take out the trash.
Yeah, well, she goes, my job isn't only just to take care of Tony's, take care of his, whatever he needs me to do, but sometimes I also have to take out the trash. And so that was a really good line. Yeah. So what'd you think of Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper? First time seeing her as Pepper.
Honestly, I thought she was great, I remember seeing her in very few roles before the movie actually ever came out, but I remember always thinking she was a good actress,
Yeah.
I mean...
I remember the only other thing that I know I've seen her in up until that point was Shallow Hal, and I really enjoyed Shallow Hal.
I was about to say, I think I remember seeing her maybe in some other scary movie? She was younger then, though, so I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I saw Shallow Hal either.
That's a great Jack Black movie. Yeah.
Oh I did see that.
Yeah.
He had the weird vision thing going where
that movie would not fly in 2017. I don't think, with the way that things are now.
Let me take a picture of you. What?
Yeah. But anyways, so we see, and I hope I didn't make that up. I'm pretty sure that she was the main co-lead and
I'm gonna look that up to make sure we're not lying to ourselves here.
Because I very well could be.
Nope, that was her.
Yeah,
boom,
hell yeah.
All right.
Hell yeah.
What? Jason Alexander was up in that too?
Oh yeah, he was the best friend.
Friggin' George.
Anyways, we promise we're not podcasting here about Shallow Hal.
I know, right? Let's press on. What's going on with Pepper?
Yeah, and so Pepper, she goes down to see Tony about something. Oh no, he needs to catch a plane, that infamous plane, and I love just once again the witty banter here back and forth between these characters is great, and you can tell that a lot of it is really unscripted because there's moments there where like they're almost talking over each other, and you don't see that a lot in movies.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool scene because it felt organic and it felt real and it was really charming and cute.
Plus, Gwyneth did something really impressive. She kept up with Robert's energy. He's naturally, pretty damn energetic like that. So being able to keep up with him conversationally on that type of banter,
right?
Well done. Yeah. Small clap.
Oh yeah. Very well done.
Yeah.
Very much so. And let's see here. Well, yeah. We also. What you think of Jon Favreau?
Honestly, I did not notice him much in the first movie.
No.
Yeah. No. I didn't really like when I first watched it. I was in theaters, so you have like the big awesome sound system, the huge big A screen, and you're witnessing for the first time Robert Downey Jr.'s charm as Tony Stark, and it's a pretty fun experience. Come on, first time you witness that, it's fresh. It's never been seen before by this whole format. Right. So it was like, oh. Holy crap, this comic character is super funny.
Yeah.
Oh, because, that's how I sounded when I was young. No, I didn't really think about it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Happy was, he made me happy. But, I actually did not connect the fact that that's who that was until much later. Actually, it wasn't until like a year or two later someone brought it up and I was like, oh,
yeah.
The more you know.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, he wasn't in this one as much as like Iron Man 2.
Right. That was a little bit more prominent of a role.
Yeah, or even Iron Man 3.
Or even Homecoming.
Yeah, because he didn't direct Iron Man 3 at all. So that explains why he he had time for more acting in that one.
Ooh, fun question time. Do you think the movie would have been better if he had his hands on it?
Jon Favreau?
Not just being a part of it, but
you
on
mean
the movie. Like
directing
forming
while
that sucker, yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Shane Black is an amazing director. The problem, I don't think, was so much with his direction of the movie. It was just the overall writing. It was the writing. It was the story that was fucked up in Iron Man 3. I mean, there was really no saving that. Once you turn Aldrich Killian, who was the man who developed the extremist virus, and Guy Pearce played him. And Guy Pearce did a really good job. It was definitely a different take on that character.
Yeah.
But then once you also have Ben Kingsley as Mandarin, and then he's not Mandarin, but he's this joke. There are no 10 rings, and now
you put a man like Ben Daggum Kingsley behind that,
right?
You know,
yeah.
What a waste of power! What a waste
it was
of prowess.
like Iron Man 3. I think had the potential to be like one of the greatest comic book movies of all time for a couple of reasons. One, because Mandarin is to Iron Man what Joker is to Batman, in my opinion.
Right. Well, I mean, Iron Man's a man of mechanics and technology, whereas Mandarin was all magic and bull crap.
He's a man of magic.
Awesome.
Seeing the 10 power rings in action would have been amazing.
But no.
Yeah, and on top of that, they also adapted one of the greatest Iron Man storylines ever, the Extremist storyline. I had a blast reading Extremist because it was the first time where Tony Stark's technology also couldn't keep up. And he had to himself inject a form of it, which morphed him permanently, which made Tony Stark a superhero. Like in and out of the suit, made Tony Stark a superhero. They really, to me, dropped the ball on Iron Man 3 and it's just from a story writing standpoint. But I definitely think that there's a lot of room for redemption, though.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if we're gonna get any more Robert Downey Jr. though.
True.
Or Chris Evans, or Thanos is gonna wreck some heads. Anyways,
boom, the end. Oh, well, there goes that. Wonder if he's gonna beat him up now. Oh, not him either.
And I completely didn't. When I said that, I didn't even think about the fact that Thanos literally laid out Iron Man with that haymaker, with that damn, like, I'm gonna hit you with the Cosmos punch, like I'm gonna hit you like you insulted my mother and death punch.
That sounds like it needs to be a move in some video game. The Cosmos punch.
He hit Tony Stark with like all the anger and hatred and frustration. Like it was damn that punch.
It was sick.
Oh yeah. Oh, Spider-Man got it bad too, but
I mean, shoot. Especially the kid of the team. Come on.
Yeah, well, I'm just talking about like in that trailer, Spider-Man got it bad.
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But back to Tony here. So we pick up here where the flashback is now ended, and Tony Stark, he wakes up in the cave, and he has this contraption over his heart, and it's hooked up to like a battery. And there's another gentleman in the cave with him. His name is Ho Jensen. And Ho Jensen was he was a character in the comic books. And actually, I'm fortunate enough to have recently read Extremis, and so a lot of this is fresh in my brain. But in the comics, as Tony Stark is undergoing the procedure to have the Extremis the nanobites put into his body, as he's under in that coma, a lot of the graphic novel moves back to this point in his story, and where he's in the cave, and where Ho Jensen is there helping him build this Iron Man Mark 1.
Yeah.
And what I have here in my notes also on Ho Jensen is that in and out of the comics, he really is an unsung hero, because without Jensen, there really would be no Iron Man. It took the both of them to really do this. One thing also I have in my notes here is that Iron Man 3 did something really clever, actually.
What's that?
So Ho Jensen in Iron Man 1 says, actually, Mr. Stark, we met once at a party in Switzerland.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's what I was thinking. He was at that party,
watching that party.
Intoxicated Iron Man.
Yeah, so that was a really cool throwback. And so, of course, the terrorist group, the Ten Rings, come in, and the leader tells them, you're going to build us this Jericho missile, or we'll kill you. Once you build the missile, we'll let you go. And Tony just looks him in the eye and says, no, you won't. And and of course Tony also says, "No, I'm not gonna make your missile." And then they immediately pan over to like the waterboarding and like the torturing and things like that. Like damn.
Yeah.
And of course Tony Stark, and with Ho Jensen's help, they build a more sturdy version of the arc reactor. And it's interesting because in this movie, he already has the arc reactor built.
Right.
It's a
The
big
big
one. Yeah, that's running like his main industry
We
plant.
made these things for the hippies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so they, long story short, they realized that look, like we're not going to build the Jericho missile for them, and we're not going to get out here alive. Our only hope is to try this Hail Mary idea
Right.
of building this suit.
Which is a hell of an idea. Let's face it. Who thinks to themselves, my best way out of this situation is to build a big ass suit? Like, who says that? But they did it, and they did a good job of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Something else I have here in my notes on that is that the Iron Man Mach 1 looks fantastic. It looked really good. Like I was surprised watching yesterday how well it held up. I don't know if like because even the quality of like the Blu-ray really can't enhance it that much. But then I also saw that a lot of the suits, specifically this one, they were almost what I would call Jurassic Parked in the sense that they had an actual model of that suit with like a CG overlay, and which would explain why it looked as good as it did. Because I thought for sure once he walked out of that cave, I was like, man, this is gonna look kind of dated. I bet it's gonna look like like a high school project now, But no, Iron Man Mach 1 looked really, really good because a lot of it was practical. So yeah, I mean, shout out to them for that because that was badass. And of course, Ho Jensen in the scene that he dies, he provides a distraction for Tony while he's putting the final touches on the Mach 1 suit. And it's the really, really touching scene. And Ho Jensen says, he's gonna go be with his family now because his family's already dead. And I have his the last line he says here. Surprisingly, I couldn't remember it. Oh yeah. So pretty much his last line to Tony Stark was, "Don't waste your life." And I thought about that because going forward in the movie, I was trying to think like, how does that affect Tony? Because it would affect any normal person, like to see this person who not only helped you survive but sacrificed their life, so basically so you can survive and get out of this shitty situation. But yeah, so the last thing he said was, don't waste your life. And I think that Tony really took that to heart because, of course, once he dispatches of a lot of the members there of the 10 rings, and he's able to fly away in the Mach 1 kind of until it craps out, and he gets away and he gets rescued by Rhodey. But once he goes back, he does have like a change of heart. He no longer wants to be a weapons manufacturer for the military. He no longer wants to be like a man of war. And I thought
what's the point if you have good morale doing it, and then all of a sudden every side is getting your weaponry? What you're doing is just assisting in the destruction of everything, not just protecting what's yours. You're fighting everything.
Yeah, but that's a thin line, man. That I feel like even a lot of people would legitimately want to argue.
That is getting into the philosophies of protecting versus not protecting versus attacking.
Right, so a lot of people would call you like they say you're not being a realist. Like a lot of people would. I'm not saying this is my viewpoint.
Right.
Just
I was about to say I wasn't catching that vibe.
Right. Yeah, but. I mean, I get that. I guess it's something that I also really enjoyed about, this movie as a whole and about the philosophy of Tony Stark as a comic book character is that he's picking a side here.
Right.
And regardless if it's the correct decision or the incorrect decision, like he's picking a side, he's stating his reasons why, because people die because of him and his weapons.
Right.
people die because of things that he's created, things that he's done. And the truth of the matter is, and he realizes this not only in the comic books, but also in this movie here as well. He realizes really soon on that the Iron Man is the one thing that he can create that can be used to help, because he's going to do it himself. It can be used to save lives instead of taking them. And so I thought that was I thought it was really well played out how they put that in the movie like that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I also have my notes here. We get a cool line from Obadiah Stane as he's trying to talk sense into Tony. Hey, this is what we do. We're weapon manufacturers. We're ironmongers. I was like, there it is. Yep. But yeah, so we get a little bit more from Obadiah Stane here at this point. He hasn't gone full heel on us yet, but he is starting
he says
to.
A great line.
Oh
Shoot.
yeah.
Tony Stark built this in a cave.
Yeah,
with a box of scraps.
That was.
I laughed a lot.
Oh yeah, that was like the third act of the movie. Yeah. You can once again, like, I love just like the slow and subtle turn here. I think it's easy to look at the MCU and to just automatically think of Loki as the greatest villain. And once again, with the exception of Thor Ragnarok, I would say that Loki is the greatest villain. But
well, I'm trying to think how many of them are still alive to be in the ringer for that. Yeah.
Exactly. They're all dead. Like Johnny Cash said, everyone they knows goes away in the end.
Oh my gosh, damn it! Here's my Empire of Dirt.
Oh yeah. I guess shout out to Johnny Cash and 9 Inch Nails. Anyways, but his portrayal though of Obadiah Stane was fantastic. You can tell that Jeff Bridges had a ton of fun with this role.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, like, the fact that they were able to get a caliber of actor like him to play this role was also, I thought, really great too, because like he knocks out the park. I forgot just how good he was at Obadiah Stane. Like, he was fantastic. His charisma, his energy, because once again, like, up until he reveals to Tony, like, because there's a double cross in this movie. He double crosses Tony twice. I'm like, damn. Like, so when he first kicks Tony off of the board, and so Tony can no longer make like executive decisions, like, he tells him, "Look, Tony, I'm the one who booted you off, and I'm doing this for your own good." And I'm like, damn. And then of course the double cross is when he takes the archery out from Tony's chest, and and the whole plan is revealed that he was the one who set it up so that Tony would be kidnapped in the first place by the Ten Rings. And what they're actually saying in that ransom video was, you didn't tell us that it was Tony Stark we were capturing. Now we want more money instead. So yeah, that was also something that was in the movie. But yeah, so that's a whole. I really enjoyed Jeff Bridges' run as Obadiah Stane.
Here's a question for you. I'm pondering it now, and help enlighten us for this. Earlier we mentioned how those subtitles were purposefully misleading.
Mm-hmm.
Why translate them at all in the beginning? Why not just leave it as gibberish and let people wonder?
That's the thing. Actually, there may not even been subtitles, but what they presumed was just, we have Tony Stark. Blah 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 blah.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. I was about to say,
but in actuality, what they were saying was
right.
Yeah.
Hey, whoa, dude, you're misleading us.
Right. Yeah. You didn't tell us we had Tony freaking Stark.
I was about to say, because if they gave us a translation, then it's like, well, okay, why do we even need to read this? We can presumably guess and, dare I say, assume what the hell is going on here.
I think that's what they wanted us to do as viewers, is just to assume at the beginning, that it was just your normal, kidnapping.
Classic misdirect.
Oh yeah, very much so.
More writing techniques, good stuff.
But yeah. Oh, also one of the things that they weren't always going to kill off Obadiah Stane. Like,
really?
Yeah, in the beginning they were going to have him live, but then
let's talk about that for a second. Let's not tell the whole movie and talk about that. Why? What do you know about that? Why did it change?
I couldn't tell you why they changed their minds. Yep.
At that point, it could have been like maybe we as a podcast group, and I'm talking to all of us as listeners too, that we could have gained the power to convince them that whatever decision they made in this door-kicking movie introducing the MCU was wrong, and that it is okay to let a villain live. They don't all have to die. We can Batman some of them, okay? Put them in the prison or something. Come on, but whatever.
Oh, man.
Screw me.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Obadiah, he went all the way to the earth. Now, what is interesting and an interesting proposal for the future is that Obadiah does have a son, Ezekiel Stain.
I remember reading about that.
Yeah, and Ezekiel, he has some pretty. What's up?
No, I was just thinking he would have a somewhat biblical name.
Yeah, one of those weird ass names.
Okay.
But yeah,
he should have gave him the middle name, 2517.
Okay, I feel like that's a scripture.
It is.
Yeah, okay.
Ezekiel 2517.
Samuel
Jackson.
Yeah,
Yes!
yeah.
Come on, Pulp Fiction love. He's not comic book character stuff, but I will still give him love.
Well, even though Sam Jackson is in the movie,
Exactly.
Okay.
And it was his face that inspired the. I'm gonna say the ultimate line, right, for the Marvel comics. There, get the new Nick Fury look.
Right, and then that Nick Fury became the main 616 universe Nick Fury. Yep.
Samuel Jackson, he's that good.
The ultimate version of Captain America, his look was based off of Brad Pitt.
Yeah, I actually remember reading that somewhere. Yeah, that kind of like, I forget that. That's weird. Yeah.
Yep. But let's see here. So, check my page here.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. So, So, another thing I've got to mention here is that we also, a few scenes back here, we see Agent Coulson for the first time when Tony Stark is giving the press conference.
Big old name.
Yeah. Like that's a prime example of hiding in plain sight.
Yep.
You know, and they were known as the Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division.
You know, I never bothered to remember that. I literally don't. That and whatever the hell SWORD stands for, don't even care. No, I just literally say to myself, shield. Yeah. When it first happened in the movie, I'm sure there are fans more in depth and in tune with the comics than I was when I first watched the movie. But I'm sure a lot of people were just like me who said, "Whoa, calm down with your name, bro. You don't need to brag that. You know, just say something cool like FBI. You know." I never thought piecing it together until freaking Coulson comes back and says, "Shield."
Yeah, just call it Shield. Yeah,
it's freaking cool.
Yeah, and
good writing comics.
Oh yeah, and also of course just another rather very intelligent system, Jarvis. Yeah, they have to have an acronym for his name as well because they didn't want to put another Butler in the movie because it would remind people too much of Batman, especially since there was a Batman movie coming out that year, The Dark Knight.
Here's something. So he's called just another. What was the first?
Well, the way I look at it is just like Iron Man has multiple Iron Man suits, have multiple AIs.
Well, Jarvis came before Iron Man.
Yeah,
in the movie at least.
Yeah, I mean, my point is like Tony Stark, he makes multiples of everything. Like
true.
So I'm assuming he just.
I'm still wondering who the first one was. Like, okay, no, this one can't live. He sounds too much like my dad. Delete. Control Alt Delete. New one.
and also though, like I'm sure also that they were like from a creative standpoint, like we have to put Jarvis in here, but we don't know how. You know. Yep. But I mean, also, you know, like the comic you saw me reading earlier. Like I said, that was the first graphic novel where the AI Jarvis was put into play, and so I think that also kind of inspired the movie as well a little bit. Let's see here. So yeah, we got our long as either not alliterations, but our long as like names going on here for Shield and Jarvis.
Our government titles.
Yeah. So another note that I have here is that the characters really do a great job telling the story during like this mid stretch of the movie because from Iron Man Mark 1 to Iron Man Mark 2, there's a long period where we don't get any Iron Man.
Right.
And it's just the characters themselves. And I wouldn't have noticed it unless I was, like
watching the movie to critique the movie.
Yeah, unless I was watching it to really see what's going on here inside the movie, inside these characters' head. But yeah, they did a really excellent job of carrying that story, because even though it was probably about 25 to 30 minutes, it didn't
really.
It was a good stretch.
I did not realize that. Wow, that is.
It was a good stretch.
So
yeah.
I sat in that theater for 20 minutes without an Iron Man in front of my eyes, and I was just happy.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well done, Marvel.
Very much so.
Slow clap.
Yeah. Yeah. It was at least a 20-minute stretch where there was no Iron Man, but it was okay though, because it everything felt natural and organic, and everything the pacing of it kept up.
Right.
So it didn't feel
as a good movie should.
Yeah. Yeah. So it didn't feel out of place. So you never got bored, or you never go, where's the Iron Man suits? You never do that.
We were probably too intoxicated with freaking Obadiah's charm and Robert Downey Jr.'s charm too.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Let's see here. So another note that I have is that when we do see the Mach 2, of course the Mach 2 was the all silver version of the suit, and would that actually have that? The Mach 2 actually does not look as good as the Mach 1. From an aesthetic standpoint, not from the actual designs of the suits, but
no, but you're talking more of the movie premiere when it was oh, we have the Mach 1, cool, but then Mach 2 comes up on big screen and you're oh, this CGI is a little
Yeah. I mean, so even watching on my small screen, my TV, it's well, it doesn't.
Right,
yeah.
You know what I meant.
Right. Yeah, it's it doesn't. I mean, as a fan, it doesn't bother me, but it's just something that's worth mentioning for the review.
Honestly, I mean, when it comes to these CGI issues, I'm not sure if I've ever voiced this too much to you. One, imagine it 20 years ago. All right, do you remember that old school Iron Man? Do I need to pull up a picture of him real quick?
Oh no!
I was about to say,
because also allegedly that wasn't even Iron Man. It's just someone took that picture and called it Iron Man.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I mean, and maybe fans out there agree with me. Maybe some are gonna want to stab me or something. Hopefully not. But honestly, when it comes to the CGI in a movie, unless it blatantly looks horrible, it's dreadful and jarring against the real image, it's not going to distract me. It's not going to detract from the movie at all either.
I'm the same way.
Yeah,
I'm the same way. I think I even mentioned this, and it may have been the Justice League podcast when people were complaining about Steppenwolf being CG, and I'm how
stash maybe
I'm how do you can't have a comic book movie, you can't expect it to be accurate without CG elements, and they're doing it again, like we mentioned with Thanos. They're getting all over Thanos again, and once again, I think it's just a hype machine. Like I said, also in another podcast, one person mentions
the first to stab it.
Yeah, one person mentions it, and then other people think it's cool or it's funny, so then they hop on board too, regardless if they really feel they were or not. I mean,
don't be a bandwagoner. Think for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, but see that's the thing. Even when I'm critiquing this, I'm not saying that the Mach 2 looks bad. I'm saying that the Mach 1...
It didn't look as good as the Mach 1,
yeah, too. Yeah. I mean, and I think the reasons for it are understandable. The Mach 1, probably... The Mach 1, I don't think, had nearly as much CGI on it as the Mach 2 did. Because the Mach 2 had to do a lot, from the flying to the movements of a man. There was just a lot that the Mach 2 had to do that the Mach 1 didn't. So the Mach 1 was a lot easier to do from a practical standpoint. And also the Mach 3, I felt also kind of suffered from the same effects too. Of course, the Mach 3 is the one that we're more used to seeing, the gold and red Iron Man suit.
Do a hot rod red.
Yeah. But oh yeah, another thing I have on here is Deuce X arc reactor, because I just thought that was yeah. Because of course Pepper, she takes his old arc reactor and she asks Tony, "What do you want to do with it?" And he goes, "I don't know, it's a wreck. I don't need it anymore. I got this new better one now." And he goes, "You can store it away." And of course, she doesn't throw it away, but she wraps it up as a present and she leaves it for him. And then he's like, "Oh, that's cool," and he leaves it there. And then of course it doesn't come back to play until later on. Hence, hence Deuce X arc reactor.
Yeah.
Another cool, just little small note I have on here is I forgot how noisy the Mach 3 was. And now, like, I'm sure that, like, it was purposely supposed to be that way. I'm not complaining about it. It was just a cool fact to
go up from somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Because it's like, because like we don't hear like the Mach 4 do that in like Avengers. No. Or actually, by Avengers, I think it was at like Mach 6 already, Mach 6 or 7.
Yeah.
By the time we get Iron Man 3, it's like in the Mach 40s. Good grief.
Well, I mean, remember Iron Man 3? All of them were made of freaking aluminum foil or something. You know, come on. Like the first movie one, that badass, Mach 3 was like
Mach
the
3
Nokia cell phone.
Yeah, Mach 3 was damn near indestructible. Like especially during this fight scene that we're about to talk about.
Yeah,
like the Mach 3 stood held up quite well.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing he didn't have any of those Iron Man 3 suits for that Ironmonger fight.
He was trying to save money and using the synthetic fake metal.
Oh my gosh! Oh man! When we get to the point where we finally do review Iron Man 3, like I don't know, it's probably gonna sound similar to like our Ragnarok review.
I'm gonna have a calm down button. Like okay, let's press on, buddy.
Oh yeah, like I'll be the only one harping on the movie.
Oh no, for sure. We're all gonna harp on the movie. Me, you, our neighbor. Come on, yeah. Anywho.
Yeah. So moving on here. There's this scene here where we finally get the Mach 3. Of course, like I said earlier, that's when we get the classic Iron Man colors and a few upgrades on the suit. And he takes that to Afghanistan again once he sees on the news how there's the 10 rings again, how they're adding up, being little dipshits. And so he takes the Mach 3 and he goes over there and we have this badass scene with Mach 3. And here's the thing, like here's like another mark of a really good movie, especially a good superhero movie, is when, because of course people going into that movie wanting to see the Mach 3. That's what Armand's accustomed to seeing.
Right. I mean, it was in the premiere, it was in the trailer.
We don't see it that much. We see the Mach 3 in this scene, and then again with the Ironmonger fight. That's all we see it in.
Yeah.
But like it was so good that you don't really realize that that's all you see it for.
Right, but then the moments we do see it are impactful.
Yeah.
Like you said, this was an amazing scene. You know? He's just testing the bad boy out, but he's like demolishing this terrorist group, this force of fear. And he's just like, no problem.
Yeah, it reminds me actually of
this isn't evil in his final form.
It reminds me of Beetlejuice because Michael Keaton was only in Beetlejuice for 25 minutes.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. I really had to wonder what the crap you were coming from with that. Okay, but yes, good comparison. Good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, I can't wait for Beetlejuice 2. That is in production. Winona Ryder, Michael Keaton. Let's get it done. But yeah, so we see this really badass scene with the Mach 3, and like I remember he gets at one point like he takes out like. I think like a group of terrorists, and then he's flying around, and he gets shot out of the sky by this tank, and he lands with a thud. He gets up, and even though he's in the Iron Man suit, he blows up this tank, and he walks away, and he looks pissed, even in the suit.
Exactly, just like they shot me with a tank.
He looks pissed, and he looks like a badass. Is what I have here in my notes. Like even in the suits, like you can tell, and it's funny because like. I always think it's corny in the comic books when when they show emotion on the Iron Man face, because I'm like, it's a metal plate. And it can't move. It has no.
It needs to be monotone. It's non-moving.
Right. But here in this scene, like, it's done very subtly and it works.
Yeah. It's like all they did was like tilt the head down.
Right.
And it's like, oh,
yeah,
that's
they tilt the head down. Yep. And like the natural like kind of arc of like the eye slits make it look and then of course the walk that he does,
and of course Robert could pull off the walk in that green stuffy suit, you know?
Right. Even that's if that was even him, I don't even know.
Well, true. I guess at that point there could have been just someone maybe a little bit more toned.
Right. Well, I remember Scarlett Johansson made a joke on the set of Avengers, like because they were filming in like a lot of these huge like studio type trailer buildings and whatnot, and she goes, and then there goes Iron Man over there. As you see, he's a giant 6'4" black guy. It was it was Robert Downey's stunt man.
It's hilarious. Damn.
Yeah.
I guess the suit adds a few inches, huh?
Yeah, I guess it does. But I mean, I guess if you're in that kind of outfit, you can get away with that. You know?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean. All right, Robert, get into the mic. It's booth. You're going to do some voice acting now.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, and also, so after he saves like this little village from the 10 Ring terrorist, and he's flying away, and then it's that point where like the U.S. Air Force sees like this unknown flying object. I guess at first they assumed it to be an unmanned small aircraft.
Right.
And it's quite hilarious because Rhodey calls up Tony and says, "Hey, do you have any drones in the sky that we don't know about?" And he's like, "Nope, I don't have anything. Don't know what you're talking about."
I'm still trying to keep my secret days.
Right, yeah. And it is quite hilarious how it's played out, because it's like, because Rhodey goes, "Where are you?" Because it sounds like you're driving, and Tony goes, "Yeah, I'm driving right now," and then like a few seconds later, Tony goes, "Actually, I'm jogging." And Rhodey goes, "I thought you said you were jogging." He goes, I'm driving to go jogging." And
it's just cover after cover.
Right.
And that's the funny thing. You gotta keep reminding yourself, guys, that was improv. You know, like
I don't know if that specifically was improv, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I think
because how they got from A to B seemed
right.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, I think. I'd like to imagine, at least. I have no verification and evidence, but I'd like to imagine that the director did the same thing he's been doing. Give him a direction, tell them what he wants the ending scene or the ending moment of the scene to be, and then make it happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, something else I also have was that, of course, it's that this scene where the two fighter pilots are chasing Tony Stark throughout the air.
Right.
And, I don't know if this is intended to be an Easter egg or not, but I took it as one. The pilots, their code names are Whiplash 1 and 2. Yeah. And of course, Whiplash is a classic Iron Man villain, and Whiplash was kind of fused with Crimson Dynamo and Iron Man 2 as the main villain. So
yeah, that was a little strange for me too.
Iron Man 2 was also a little off the mark. It's kind of like I don't know. I feel like they tried to capture what made Iron Man 1 so good and special, but in the attempt to do so, they kind of floundered.
But they did give us Don, and he did good. You know?
Oh, Don Cheadle. Yeah.
Yeah. War Machine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Go Don.
Oh yeah, and of course Mickey Rourke as well. I always enjoy him. Yeah. And I forget who played Justin Hammer, but he also did a really good job.
Yeah, I remember the rival weaponer, right?
Yeah.
Weaponer, that's a term. Coin it. Someone called freaking Webster.
I think if you put one more E in there, you got something.
Weaponer.
No, I said another E.
Weaponry.
Weaponeer.
Weaponistic.
Anyways,
yeah.
So it's after this part here where basically Pepper finds out about Obadiah's plot. She sees the raw footage of the terrorist and kidnapping Tony, and how it was Obadiah's idea, and of course, she tries to warn Tony, but by this point, it's too late. Obadiah has used one of Tony Stark's technologies to temporarily paralyze Tony. He takes the arc reactor from Tony's chest to go use it to fuel his own machine. And also, a few scenes before this is when we get that really great scene that you mentioned about him yelling at that poor scientist. Because it's the scene, that scene right there, I gotta take a few steps back here. The setup is great and the delivery is great, because it starts off with Obadiah power walking into like the room with the giant arc reactor. And he goes over to what we assume to be the head scientist, and he goes, "Well, how's it coming?" And he goes, "Well, we're doing all we can right now, trying to analyze the figure out what we need to do, but we just as of right now we can't do it. The technology just isn't there yet." And Obadiah, he puts his arm around this guy like they're old pals, and he goes, The technology's not there yet. It's not there yet. No, look at this right here. Look at this. And he points to the arc reactor.
I forgot about this part. Yeah, keep going.
He goes, "You telling me the technology isn't there? Tony Stark built this in a cave."
1, 2, 3. With a box of scraps. And you gotta love Jeff, dude. Like, at that moment, it's like, I know this is supposed to be anger, but I'm laughing.
Yeah. And that poor scientist, he had a really good rebuttal, though. His response was, "Well, I'm not Tony Stark."
Exactly, yeah. And that really just did a great job supporting how great of a person, or how great of a character Tony Stark really was, besides Playboy billionaire. But he was also a great engineer.
Yeah, most definitely. So, we see him... like I said, fast forwarding again to the part where he paralyzes Tony Stark with a little sound emitter, takes his arc reactor, and goes to power up the Ironmonger. And meanwhile, Tony Stark, he's now trying to crawl his way downstairs to go get the Deus Ex arc reactor that was left for him by Pepper. With the help of his trusty little claw machine, he gets it. Yep. And... because that one is weaker, it can't power the Iron Man suit like his newer one did. But it's gonna have to make do. He calls Rhodey, tells him what's up, and of course, James Rhodes tries to keep the airways clear because he knows some shit's gonna go down. And now we basically get this final climactic battle between Iron Man and Ironmonger. First thing I want to say is that. Maybe it's just me, and I think a lot of it has to do with the colors, like my perception here. Because the Ironmonger suit also looked really good. It looked really good up until like it opened up and we see Obadiah Stane sitting in it. But like other than that, as a whole, the Ironmonger did look really good, and it looked scary as hell too.
Right. Well, I mean,
it was terrifying.
They did a good job of artfully decorating like the unnecessary parts. Just for the cosmetic, it's a big ass suit, but then it's got like this weird jagged edge here and this and that, and like funky joints and wiring even. It's like, okay.
Right. It was. I thought it was appropriate because it was supposed to be an unfinished project at this point. It wasn't supposed to be completed, but it was. And what we get next is a fight scene that still makes me giddy. I haven't had it written down. It still makes me excited watching this scene for various reasons. One, because of course I really did enjoy reading the fight in the comics between Obadiah and Tony, but also just seeing that on the big screen or on the small screen. Either way, it looked really, really fun. And when I say fun, I mean I'm not talking about that pretentious fun. I'm talking about the actual kind of fun that's supposed to be in a comic book movie. Because this fight right here was just so cool to watch. We see a poor guy riding on a motorcycle. He gets snatched off of it. Ironmonger, it doesn't even worry about him. Ironmonger snatches the motorcycle and the guy goes flying off of it.
Yep.
And then he bitch slaps Tony Stark with said motorcycle. Tony Stark goes flying into a bus, and then Ironmonger blasts a missile into said bus. I really hope there is no one on that bus.
You knew someone was on that bus like, oh, crap. Oh, crap,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And that sturdy ass Iron Man Mark III suit held up.
Yeah.
But yeah, this fight as a whole was great, and I love how also there was another Deus Ex in it, the frosting.
Right. I was going to bring that up, actually. You
Yeah.
know, Iron Man discovers it for himself, thus, let me somehow pick up this bigger version of my suit and fly it on up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Obadiah chased him into orbit.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And what I also really love about this scene is how they do subtly continuously play into the comics. I always appreciate things like that. Because in the comics, really the way that Tony beat Obadiah, like the first time they fought, Tony lost because Obadiah had a superior suit. The second time, Tony won not only because he had a superior suit to Obadiah, but he also knew how the suit functioned. Tony realized that Obadiah, he doesn't have the brains to operate the suit like with that capabilities without the computer's help. So if I shut down his computers, then he won't be able to function. He won't be able to use the suit properly. And so that's how he beats him. And in this movie here, it's kind of a similar thing. Like he removes the targeting system from Obadiah's suit. And he shuts down some of the functions and
makes him blind.
Yeah. And Obadiah, he doesn't really know how to use the suit as good as Tony does. And it's also made evident here in this scene when they're flying up into orbit.
Yeah.
But I thought that the Ironmonger was equally cool and terrifying.
It really was, yeah. And what made that fight so great was, a number of factors, such as the tensity of Iron Man and his weaker arc reactor constantly
with a low battery power
exactly.
as well.
Jarvis constantly whispering in his ear, "Sir, you're at 3% battery."
Yeah.
That's my Jarvis. And then of course, Warmonger being this huge, terrifying threat. And one thing I really loved about this threat in particular, and this is me looking at a bigger picture here. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm gonna do it. I liked this movie and this threat and this villain a lot because it was an appropriate size.
I agree. Yeah.
Warmonger wasn't like, oh no, I'm the shit, I'm gonna beat the world up.
One reason why I really enjoy Obadiah Stane and why I think that he is one of the best villains that the MCU has or had was
correct.
was because Obadiah, to an extent, was really believable, and that was partly due to the writing and partly due to Jeff Bridges' performance. Because like Obadiah, he had that tenacity and like that drive of like just your old school money hungry, power hungry,
right?
Corporate
he represented
greed.
Something we see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He represented something we see, like the corporate greed, someone who smiles in your face, but secretly would do anything just to progress their own, state.
Right.
And that's what we got. And his whole thing was, it was about power. It was about getting more money. It was about getting more funding. It was about, just that was his purpose.
It's like we said in the in an earlier podcast, villains. Actually, if you haven't listened to it, please go do so.
Oh yeah.
But a great villain is one that not throws hindrances and blockades in the way of our hero,
right?
But it's one that has his own goals. And
yeah.
This character, Obadiah, Jeff frickin' Bridges, gave us exactly that. Someone who actually had, I want this company, I want this empire, it should be mine. I'm gonna take it.
Right.
It was good.
And it was really good. And it makes a lot of sense on so many levels because of course like he at one point technically according to this story here, Obadiah had the company like before Tony Stark was 21, but after Howard Stark had died, the company was in the hands of Obadiah. And like you can only imagine once he has the technology of that Ironmonger suit, he even says to Tony, like, in your attempt to be more peaceful, you've actually given us our greatest weapon yet. And it was the truth.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, shoot, what was the size of that mini rocket Tony used to blow up an entire tank? Just like it was half his forearm or something.
Yeah, a little wrist rocket. Yeah,
it looked like a firework.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure that might have been the original test rocket he made in the lab. Something we didn't see off camera.
Oh yeah. So, yeah. Unfortunately, Obadiah he bites it hard. And I remember I actually remember watching the movie because I forgot exactly how he died. I knew that the arc reactor blew up and that he and Tony were both near it.
Right.
And so the arc reactor, the big one anyway, the main one that's powering the building, yeah, it erupts with like a huge immense of light.
Yeah.
And like Obadiah kind of gets like shocked by it, and at that point I was thinking, that's kind of bullshit. How does he live? I mean, how does he die but Tony Stark lives? Like he can still be alive, and then he falls forward and tumbles into like this huge vat of like light and energy, and I was like, never mind.
Yeah, no, that
he's
solves
dead.
it.
Yeah. He
and,
did.
and what was Iron Man? If I remember correctly, he like got hit by it a little bit, but then like rolled off or something like.
Yeah,
that.
he was able to like roll away from it.
Okay.
So yeah.
So he didn't fall and hit.
He didn't fall into the giant being
into
of
the
light.
giant. What might as well have been,
Yeah.
Stark Kamehameha.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't
Mm.
suffer that fate. So yeah, to wrap up the movie here, we see the next scene where Agent Coulson is with Pepper and Tony, and he's kind of telling Tony, all right, so this is what you're gonna tell the people that happened. You have your alibi here. You're on your personal yacht with 50 of your guests, and they're all vouching for you that you were there. And of course, at that point, we get the whole shield reveal that Tony tries to say the name of Strategic Homeland, blah blah blah, and Coulson cuts him off and says, "Just call a shield."
Yeah. And then you hear a few knowing people in the audience go,
Yeah. And then at that point, we also get another Easter egg, how Tony Stark, he's looking at the cue cards that Coulson gave him. And Tony Stark, he goes, this is kind of lame. The Iron Man is my bodyguard. That was a huge part of the comics. How the way that Tony Stark would keep his cover is that he said the Iron Man was his bodyguard. And the way he did that was that he either have the Iron Man suit on remote control, so he and the Iron Man suit could be in the same place at the same time. And he said that it was just an unnamed pilot who was in the suit who had it as a bodyguard. And other times he had Rhodey in the suit as well. Which
must have been super cool for Rhodey.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
Can I wear it again, please? There's no purpose. Can I, please?
Oh, yeah. Then there was that cool Easter egg in it, too. Right before Tony Stark goes to fight Obadiah Stane, Rhodey watches Iron Man fly off, and he looks over and sees the Silver Mark II, which looks extremely similar to the War Machine, just kind of stripped down. And he goes, "I'll be back for you." And so, we get like a really straightforward, this is happening. Yeah.
Just not with the same guy.
Right. Unfortunately, Terrence Howard would not be back for that suit.
True. No, he kind of lied to us.
Yep. Just really quick side note. What I really did like about Don Cheadle's appearance in Iron Man 2, especially when he first shows up, like they do one of the most meta things I've ever seen. So up until the release of this movie, like there was a lot of hype behind Iron Man 2 because Iron Man 1 was such a huge hit, and there was a lot of talk about Terrence Howard being replaced by Don Cheadle. And so when Don Cheadle makes his first appearance in the movie, he goes, "It's me. I'm here. Get over it." That is his line in the movie.
That's actually pretty great. I do not remember that. I'll have to go back and see that.
Oh yeah. So, of course, like at the Tony Stark does his press conference there, and that same bitchy reporter, she's back again. That same bitchy journalist, and Tony Stark, he goes off the rails and he just says, "Screw it, I'm Iron Man," and then that's where the movie ends.
The thing I really liked about that big reveal, let's face it, Iron Man itself was a new kind of comic book movie for us. It was a whole different experience. It was a fresh take on a popular genre, but as if the movie didn't stand out enough, at the very end they give us that, and it's like, oh, well, I'm not going to be your Superman or your Batman. I'm not going to be the secret identity. I'm Iron Man. Do it.
Yeah.
Do you remember the meme that came out shortly after that? It had a picture of Clark Kent, and it was like, I must protect the ones closest to me.
Yeah.
And Batman was like, I must keep my identity a secret. And then, freaking Robert Downey Jr., screw you, I'm Iron Man.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know if you thought this all the way through, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it was still great to me.
Oh
like,
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like from a fan perspective, it was great. But like, if I was in your shoes, I probably would have had to swallow the ego a little bit. And,
Well, remember what else he did? He gave his address to a terrorist.
we saw that ended for him.
Yeah. He was just like, this may not have been my best idea.
Yeah.
Put security on high. Just gave my address to it. Yeah.
Oh man. Let's see, and then of course we get our very first Marvel post-credit scene.
Right, actually. And it's surprising nowadays. And guys, please preach this to your less than understanding friends, I'm gonna call them. Because how many people do you guys always see still getting up and still walking out the daggum theater? It's like
It surprises
like,
me.
guys, there's more movies.
Because like we're how many movies deep now in the MCU? Well over a dozen. Over a dozen.
I mean, we're almost 10 years into this, you know?
Yeah.
And people should get this by now.
Yeah, you should know by now. You don't get up. You piss in the popcorn bucket if you got to go piss.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, it's like you ask for $1 and instead you stand there and only take the 98 cents and you walk off before you get the full damn dollar.
Right.
You know, come on.
Yeah, that is how it is. But this
one was a great one.
This was a truly great one. So Tony Stark, he comes back home from the press conference in his Malibu home, and he tries to give a command to Jarvis. Jarvis starts to speak, but then Jarvis shuts down, and Iron Man's like, "What's happening?" Or Tony Stark's like, "What's happening here? What's going on?" And then out from the shadows emerges none other than Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury. And Nick Fury does a little bit of world building here by saying, "I am Iron Man." So you think that you're the only superhero? There's a whole universe out there that you don't even know about. That was also, I think, a meta statement for us fans as well.
I mean, that unfolded years, decades, literally planned decades.
And then like the exclamation point on that sentence was, "I'm here to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative," and that's where it leaves us. Yeah.
Yep.
And like you said, 9 years later, like that scene still makes me smile. Like it. Iron Man 1 was really what this universe needed.
Yeah.
And thank goodness that it didn't get started earlier, like in the 90s or the earlier 2000s.
Right.
It wouldn't have looked as good. It wouldn't have been as good. It just wouldn't have worked. Yeah. But thankfully, like lightning struck, and we got like what I consider one of the best movies in the MCU to date.
Oh yeah, still true.
Like for the MCU, Iron Man 1 is definitely top 5, possibly top 3.
Well, the movie definitely did a lot of things for us. It was a shining badge of the casting power of Marvel, because they did a great job casting their villain.
Agreed.
Samuel Jackson, of course, Robert Downey, he did a great job, I mean...
Yeah. Pepper Potts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, the casting was superb. The storytelling itself, it was...
Right.
They used a couple of Deus Ex Machinas. I'm sorry, Deus...
yeah.
I said it right.
Yeah.
But, I'm tired. But, no, I mean, they really did a great job unfolding this for us, and then just realizing, like, oh, wait, we're not done here. There's going to be so much more, and then just letting that grow.
And I think about, like, the balls on Kevin Feige and Jon Favreau to put that scene in that movie, like, before they even know if Iron Man 1 was going to be a success, like, it was in there. And, like, they really put a lot of stock in that movie, and that's really bold of them, especially considering that, I'm not gonna lie, at that time, despite him being a major player in the comic books, Tony Stark was still a B-list superhero as far as like the average person would be concerned.
Right.
Like back then in 2008, like, before that movie came out, if you were to ask people to name 3 superheroes, I'll guarantee you they say Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. That'd be the ones that people would name.
Yeah.
But now I guarantee you that people will probably put Iron Man's name in that mix.
Yeah.
I mean,
guaranteed.
because he's household name.
Yeah. I mean, think about it, everyone. Like, the performance did such a great job. The movie did such a great job that this B-list character, opinions granted, just became a bunch of people's favorite.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp was someone in an interview who actually said that, I remember after leaving the theater of watching my friend Robert's performance, I looked down, and that was the moment I first saw, Captain Jack Sparrow leave my son's eyes, and all I could see was Iron Man.
Oh man, yeah. I can't believe that we almost didn't get Robert Downey in that role.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the backstory on that? I didn't know
We
that.
almost got Tom Cruise.
Oh shit! No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah. There were a couple of other names thrown in the hat as well. I don't remember who they are, but Tom Cruise was definitely one that they were leaning towards. Yep.
I'm good. No offense, Tom. You're cool, bro.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, same here. I wouldn't change it up for the role.
No.
But anything else you want to add on onto this review for Iron Man 1?
For sure, yeah. I mean, it is unfortunate to realize, Robert's opinion of what's going to happen with the Iron Man role, according to his point of view and how far along he's going to go with the character. It's interesting to think that we technically only have one more Iron Man to view. Am I right? Like, he's only going to be in this Infinity Gauntlet. Is he going to be in anything after that?
I mean, well, I still believe that Infinity Wars is a 2-part movie.
So, okay.
So we have Infinity War coming out 2018, and then whatever Avengers 4 is in 2019.
Oh, okay. So I'm predating my conversation a little bit.
I mean, you could. I mean, for all we know, we could lose him, and
he could have died by Cosmo Punch, yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard to say right now. We don't really know where he stands, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be done after these 2 movies, and unfortunately, probably the same for Chris Evans.
Yeah. Well, nonetheless,
but I mean, also if this deal goes through, man, like they're getting a slew of characters.
Oh yeah, I mean. It's ridiculous. Literally, there's going to be like another 10 years easy of Marvel movies for us to watch.
Oh, easily.
We're going to be watching these into our senior years, dude.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. And I'm going to love every bit of it. I will love every moment of it.
We're going to be in nursing homes fighting the freaking nurse staff just to let us out to go to the damn theater. And you know what? On that day, we're still going to be podcasting and giving you guys the news about it.
So Kevin, let me state a little factoid / proposition here on the podcast. So, it's been going around recently how a lot of people have been posting about this. How if you watch every Marvel movie one a week starting now, then by the time we finish, we'll be at Infinity War. It'll be time for the movie. So they got me thinking: what if we found a way to review these movies up until then?
Oh, and do it like a Wednesday night deal?
Yeah.
Let's do them in the order that they were released.
Yeah,
because we already messed up chronological. We already messed that up. Yeah. So
wait, we did.
Yeah. Well, technically, if you're doing it chronologically.
Well, yeah, because we already did Ragnarok. Is what you mean?
Well, that too, but I mean chronologically, in the actual time span, Captain America, the First Avenger, would have been the first thing we should have talked about. He happened in like the 40s.
Yeah, but I was thinking of the sense of like and how the movies were released.
Right. No, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I was saying it's too late for the other option. So yeah. But dude, I'm totally down, man. Hells yeah.
Now we're gonna have to do yeah. We will have to do a few workarounds, but it shouldn't be too hard just because, of course, we're going to do Black Panther when Black Panther comes out.
Oh, of course, yeah. But that'll be more, our hardcore movie review episode that we want all of you guys to come and join us for.
Yeah, most definitely. So you heard it here, guys. So, please feel free to join us on this journey here we're going to be taking as we go back and completely review the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And so you guys are going to get to catch up with the movies with us as well. So that means next Wednesday night or Thursday morning, depending on when you get this, we'll be reviewing Iron Man 2. Oh, no, Hulk. No? Jeez, I got ahead of myself again.
I was about to say Hulk.
We'll be reviewing the Incredible Hulk. And so, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Indeed.
And any other closing comments you have?
Well, nothing but the usual, my good friend. Yeah. So, guys, ladies, friends, gentlemen, everybody out there, doctors, lawyers, teachers, even anyone. Please feel free to leave a comment on the Facebook page at superiorhomies.com, or questions, comments, concerns, or what's the rest of the tag you always say?
Gifts, threats, foods, replies.
There it is. We're serious about those, except for the threats. No threats, please. Kevin, I'm going to stab you. No, feel free to email those to us at superherohomies@gmail.com.
Yep. And also, if you like what you hear, then, give us a little support by giving us a good rating on iTunes. That really helps us out. And
and tell a friend. Please, tell a good nerd friend of yours.
Yeah.
Let us grow.
Yeah, tell your friends. Tell your friends you know about a couple silky voice podcasters that talk about superheroes and all kinds of cool stuff.
Oh my.
But yeah, guys,
All
so
right.
we'll see you guys this Sunday when we talk about the Mad Titan himself, Thanos. And then we'll see you guys the following Wednesday as we cover none other than The Incredible Hulk, 2008 movie with not Eric Bana.
I know, right? Yeah. That's
Our boy
I
from
keep wanting to say
Edward
Tyler.
Norton.
Yeah,
Edward
no,
Norton.
it's not Tyler. His name is Edward Norton. His name is Edward Norton.
He's doing a Fight Club reference, but
I love a lot of movies, guys.
all right, guys.
lot.
So we will see you guys Sunday. Until then, I'm Quentin.
I'm Kevin.
All right.